Okay, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday morning. It's 8:15. Me and Phil over here at the HOA. I dropped him off on the other end so he can go on and there's no sense in us, we basically rode through here, kind of checking everything out, man. I like to do that because a lot of the homeowners have already cut theirs. So I just wanted to point out to Phil exactly, yeah. Thought I'd take a few minutes here this morning and chit chat about, the cutter, the new mulching cutter, and a couple of things that you guys are asking me about. And so a couple guys was asking me, Chad over there at Green Acres, and I think Ernest was asking me about does it seem like it's rougher, cutting those big trees, the big dead pines. Those pines have been there. I cut those trees down probably 5 or 6 years ago on the power line there, and they're so big that we just put them beside the right on the outside of the wood line because they're so big. And now, yeah, I could have cut them yesterday and dispose of them. I mean, I don't know how you're going to dispose of them. I think, and I don't know that much about this forestry mulching thing. I don't know a lot, man. I'm going to learn though. For the most part in my area, when people hire you to go and do forestry mulching type stuff, especially if it's like, an HOA or a homeowner or something want to clear out, they're not clear cutting, right? They're not, just taking everything out. If they're doing all that, then they're probably going to want to get the stumps and everything. And a lot of jobs that I've seen, since I've had my other, my rotary cutter, there's a lot of stuff on the ground, right? A lot of, big tree hunks and stuff on the ground in the area that they may want you to mulch. And so, that's that's going to be probably the number one thing that people are going to hire you for, because with all that stuff on the ground, you can't maneuver a machine in there without running over something. Then you might, throw a track. My luck, I'll throw a track. Not to mention, I don't really know what I would do with those big hunks of trees if I can't mulch them up. Now we know that the Chinese mulcher is not, well, I don't know that for sure, is not of high quality, long lasting. We don't know that. I'm trying to figure out, and I'm a little bit, I don't really know anything. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what more do I want a forestry mulcher to do, right? What more? I mean, when you look at what this thing can do, what makes it where the American ones are $30,000 or more, and this Chinese one, $6,000 or whatever. I don't. It's got to be longevity. I mean, it's got to be. I don't know, but I'm limited on my knowledge, and I will be limited on my knowledge because my machine, meaning my Kubota, it's only going to push so much. So if I had a 130 horsepower machine that's pumping 40 gallons a minute, then I'd probably tear that thing up, that Chinese one up, because it'd be just too much for it. But see, my machine, and that's why I got the mulcher, that cheap mulcher, my machine it can't do that. So needless to say, I'm not going to be doing a lot of big forestry mulching jobs. if I got into that, I would have to buy a bigger machine. But my thinking is sort of like with a chainsaw, the chain, you know, I'd rather stick it in all wood than a mixture of rock and grit and everything. The chain on a chainsaw is the same way. You know, once it hits the dirt, you got to sharpen that chain. You're done, and it doesn't take but just now you got to sharpen the chain. That was my thinking, and it may be skewed a little bit on that grinder hitting the ground, because when the grinder hits the ground like that, and you know the mulcher, when the mulcher gets on the ground like that, and you back up and it's sucking everything in and it's throwing it out, when you're throwing rock and grit and sand and you know whatever, right? Pine cones and you know whatever, and the unknown, right? I mean, yesterday I hit a couple rock. Now the thing is, you don't want to hit a stationary rock, like one that's right, you know, because if you hit that, I mean, you could rip a tooth off probably. I don't know. And like I told Chad in the comment, to me, I had rather. Now I know that my mulcher's not designed to cut, you know, 15-inch trees or whatever. But considering those pines have been on the ground all that time, and I knew there was no foreign objects in them, there's nothing unknown, and the mere fact that they've been sitting there that long means that they're pretty difficult to deal with, and that's why I bought the mulcher, to tackle difficult to deal with type stuff. If it were real easy to deal with those big 60-foot trees, then I'm sure me and the owner would have already done something with them. Now, yeah, I could have cut them up, but they were so big, man. But my thinking is that it's easier on the teeth, right, to do that grinding on those pine trees. You know, the ones that were on the ground. You know, the ones like like I got right here. That I'll put a little clip up. It seemed like it's easier on the teeth to do that than going onto the ground. Now you have to weigh how it's wearing on the cutter, but I don't think the mulching head is. I don't think that that's taxing the head as much as it may seem. Number one, it's soft pine. Number two, I'm in control of how much I take off, and that's the only thing I'm hitting. I'm not hitting this over here and that over there. That's the only thing I'm hitting. I don't have to worry about no rock, no metal, no wire, no nothing. So, though it's probably more taxing on the motor, the hydraulic motor of the mulching head, I think it did it really good. And I have no technique. I'm pushing the mulcher, but I know that I'm going to be having to do a lot of that. If I'm going to, sell mulching work, there's going to be a lot of trunks on the ground that I'm going to have to grind up. So let's just go on and make sure that it'll do that. And it did it beautifully, y'all. Y'all got to admit. And there's a couple more over there that I'm going to do. And all of those trees have been down for a while. And a lot of the ones I dragged out of that area because it's on a slope. It was terrible area, man. And it's been terrible for a few years. Well, it's been terrible for a long time. And there's a lot of debris in there over the years. It ain't never been really cleaned out over there. Probably in 20 or 30 years. And there's a big pile of block in there. that's the kind of thing I was worried about yesterday. And maybe I shouldn't have to worry about, or shouldn't be worried about all those things. But the teeth, uh, well, I don't want to have to replace no teeth. And if I strictly did just like those big pine trees, I think that's the easiest thing on the teeth. And considering my machine is only 29.8 gallons per minute, then I don't think I'm pushing the motor, the hydraulic motor, drive motor, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I'm pushing that motor hard either, because my machine is medium. They say that motor will take 40 gallons a minute. I'm not even at 30. So I'm already at half capacity, right? And these are the little things that I probably didn't talk about when I bought the thing. Another guy was asking me, where I got where did I order the mulcher from? I didn't order it, man. The best place to find these mulchers, from what Irv and a couple other folks have said, is at the auctions. Now, I've never bought anything from an auction. I've bid it on stuff, but I never won it. So there's that. My thing is, I didn't want to wait and hope that I get one from an auction. That was my biggest thing. As long as, I could have paid $7,500 for it, and I still, what I know now, it's worth $7,500 all day long. All day long. I didn't know that to begin with, but I ran it for 4 solid hours yesterday. And the hydraulic fluid never got, real hot. And that's what you got to watch out for, other than the wear and stuff. The teeth on it are about $26 each. I want to say there's 50 teeth on it. 25 and some change each. So 1,200 and some change for a whole new set of teeth. Now, I may be able to get some better teeth too. So, because this Universal, I could buy those teeth anywhere. And I don't know enough about, I got 6 hours on a mulching head. That's all I got. And I didn't tear nothing up. So I don't know if now, one thing for sure, if you are, mulching big trees like that, when I say big trees, they're big, but it doesn't matter how big they are if they're rotten or really soft. That's a lot better than running up and hitting a damn hickory tree, even if the hickory tree's like that, or walnut, or, some red oak or white oak or water oak. A damn sapling like that is rougher on the cutter head as far as processing than those big pine trees. Based on what I'm seeing, based on what it felt like while I was there, right? And while I'm in the machine. Now, is it a time sucker? Yeah. To grind up, and those are probably bigger than most trees that you're going to grind up on a job, on any other job. You're probably going to have a lot of that kind of thing to grind up, but they're not going to be that big, because each one of those trees, you're probably talking about 45 minutes or so on each one. So then you got to weigh that. You're talking about an hour and a half to get rid of 2 trees. Yeah, 2 hours to get rid of 3, maybe something like that are that long. So then a lot of people ain't gonna want to pay $500 to get rid of 3 trees. See what I'm saying? Or $450 or whatever you're charging per hour. I'm not sure what I'm charging the owner over there per hour. I don't really know. But he's my buddy, so I want to say about $150 an hour, something like that. But I'll give him a break, because I don't know what I don't know. and I don't know a lot, and he's not sweating me or nothing. A couple other things about the cutter. One thing that's a problem that I can see a perpetual problem is hooking it up to the skid. The female goes on there easy. The male won't. The male won't. It don't want to go on there. I'm talking about the on to the auxiliary hydraulics on the high flow on my machine. It seems like the mulching head is holding pressure. I think I might have mentioned it the other day, but I didn't know it'd be a perpetual thing. Stump grinder, it happens sometimes with the stump grinder, but not every time I've had to plug this thing in, except for the very first time. I've had to undo the end of the flat face coupler and let hydraulic fluid out of the machine part, not the Kubota, but the mulching head, and then it just pops right on there. But see, I'm not going to want to do that every time I want to hook it up. You got to have both your wrenches. You got to undo it, and then you got to make sure that the O-ring is seated properly when you put it back, tighten it back down. And it ain't really designed to come on and off like that. So I don't know if that's going to be something that's perpetual or something, but every time I've hooked it up, I've hooked it to my machine 3 times. The first time I hooked it is when when it didn't have no hydraulic fluid in it. Very first time, everything went on there really easy. But the second and third time that I had to plug it into the machine, and see what that does, that makes you not want to take it off. And I don't really know what I can do about that. I don't know. What else? One guy was asking me, or mentioning, he's surprised that it's not chain driven. Most of these mulchers are not chain driven, because when a chain breaks, it causes a lot of damage to the internal stuff. That's what I was reading, any of the mulchers that I've ever seen, they all got big belts on them, like a big, thick timing belt. So, and that belt that's a big, thick timing belt for sure. What else? That grease fitting on the back side there, I'm gonna have to do a 90 on it. So I'm not gonna take that belt off and grease it again until I have a 90. I probably won't be using it this week. I'm shooting my own self in the foot. Go figure. By me having my other truck over the mechanic shop, because I was supposed to take this truck and drop it, but I haven't had a chance to do that because I need this truck, because it's got a drip on the coolant. So I've been procrastinating on it because, well, this truck has everything in it that I use on the daily. And but all I got to do is take this truck over there, drop it, and then and get in the other truck and go to work. So it's really time my own hands, because like today, it's a lot easier for me with my ankle being swollen up. It's a lot easier for me to just sit in the skid, to be honest, than to do all this. And I could have sent Phil over here with the other truck. and he could have done a lot of this. So my procrastination has made it where I'm not mowing and doing, work, because I got plenty of work over there at the bamboo site. I could be over there right now with that mulching head, but I want to go through it real quick, and I'll do a video over it, and I'll overlay it on this video of me, checking everything on it. Just want to look at everything, get a good look at it. There's one thing that I don't really understand, that maybe some of you guys that know more about mulching than me. When I straddle we'll just say a piece is 6 foot, right? 6 foot long, and we'll say it's 8-inch diameter, 6-inch diameter. When I straddle it and I go backwards or forward, it doesn't matter, and I'm trying to chip that piece up, it shoots it up under the skid, like 10 feet or whatever, 15 feet, where I'll drop the thing down on the log, tree, sapling, whatever, and if there ain't no leaves or branches on it, then it just grabs it and shoots it behind the machine. Then I have to back up and do it again and again. And I'm not able to really grind it up because there's nothing holding it still. I wonder, and I want to look at some of the other makes on the expensive ones. There's got to be a reason why they're $30,000 and this one is $6,000. Right? There's got to be a reason. It should be pretty obvious. I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it. Hell, you could buy 5 of these before you bought one of them. If you had 5 of these in your driveway, in your business, will 5 of them last as long as a $30,000 one? You gotta ask yourself that, because after you blow up the first one, or break it or whatever, I don't know how much beating they could take. Then now you got parts. So it's almost worthy of buying that, just on that, if you got a machine like my Kubota. If you got a bigger machine, then you might not be able to get away for a $6,000 mulcher, because you might tear it up. My machine's not big enough to tear it up as of yet. Y'all saw what I'm putting it through. But I wonder if there's something that I can do on the back side underneath it, to where when I trying to think, I don't really see how there's got to be a better technique than what I'm doing. What if I bolted a plate to hang down about that far on the back of my mulcher, right? So then when the mulching head grab one of those trees and try to sling it under my machine, that it was slinging, hit that plate and hold it still to where I can grind it down. That might be something that the bigger ones, that the big expensive ones have, that mine don't have. I might do something like that for real. I said for real. Or maybe make it where on one side, so when because there are pieces like this, right, that are laying in the woods. You're going to have that on every job you go to. There are pieces like this, that long. You can't mulch them up, because when you touch them with the cutter head, it just slings it. Now, of course, on the big stuff, it's not going to do that until you get to the very end. Even those big, long ones, as I ground through them, I still was, when they got about that thick, they'd start breaking then. So now you went from a 60-foot piece of tree to to 3 20-foot pieces, or 5 10-foot pieces, or whatever. The smaller the piece is, the more likely you're not going to be able to grind it, because it's just going to shoot it behind the machine. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I understand the physics behind it. Maybe with the bigger ones, the RPMs are spinning so fast that it doesn't grab it. See, mine will grab it. Sort of like, picture a skill saw, right? Or picture a miter box. Miter box is a really good one. You know, if the blade ain't wide open, sometimes it'll grab. A table saw the same way. And that's equivalently what's happening when I get some of these pieces that I'm trying to grind up smaller. But you got to be able to get the stuff on the ground. That's the whole purpose of having a forestry mulcher, is to be able to get it, run over and suck everything up in it. I did run into a couple of instances yesterday where I was sucking stuff up in it, and it lodged in there. Now that goes right back to that velocity, that my machine can only spin it so much. The bigger machine and different mulcher could overcome that, right? Because it's spinning so fast, it's so violent, so strong. Mine's spinning fast and it's violent as hell, and y'all saw what it'll do. And I have no technique down, so those are the few things that I've seen with it since I've had it. And like I said, man, there's only I only got so much time on it, so. But yeah, so far so good with the mulcher, man. I really like it. I do want to go through it, and I am going to be buying some, at least a 90 grease fitting. I find it very hard to believe that they put a fitting there like that, and that people are having to take that belt off if it's a grease spot that you have to grease every time you use the machine. I mean, that is terrible. Terrible. So it's probably about like my power rake. I don't grease my power rake every time I use it. I don't. They could have made that fitting. I mean, that fitting, yeah. So that tells me, Chinese ain't known to be dumbasses. I mean, why would they do that? Because they probably only want you to grease it when you change the belt or whatever. I don't know. But I got to have better access than that. So, okay, y'all. So I finally dropped my truck off at the shop over here, but it was dripping like coolant. I hope it don't need a radiator. But so I was showing the mechanic over there, the mulcher, head, and he was asking me, he said, so how many grease fittings are on it? I said, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5. And he's like, and I was showing him on the video, and he's like, damn, man, that's freaking. Then he saw the one behind the pulley, behind the belt and all, and he's like, man, I got something I think might work with that, right? And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And look what he gave me, y'all. Y'all see what this is? Ooh. Now, it's already got a 90 on it, right? It's got that 90. So, then it's just about me mounting a spot. And it's even got a mounting bracket, dog. Look at that, man. Unbelievable.